This presentation is 6 things your cat wants you to know. My name is Karine Straube. I'm also here with Catherine McCullough. We're both in the Behavior and Training Department at the Humane Rescue Alliance in Washington, DC. So cats are very common pets, but a lot of times we kind of take them for granted a little bit. So it's worth it to kind of sit down and see what our cats really want and need from us in their lives. We're going to work off of a couple of core ideas, which at first may seem a little contradictory. First off, cats are not considered fully domesticated. That means that their brains have many similarities to those of their wild cat relatives. Having the brain of basically a wild animal means that they do have different perspectives and priorities than us. And it's worth taking into account when we think about what our cats need to be happy. At the same time, cats are not all the same animal. They are individuals with their own personalities, just like people. We don't expect people to all be the same. We shouldn't expect the same from every single cat that we encounter either. The first topic we're going to talk about is petting. So I actually want to start by having you think about how your people relationships go. So when you see the people in your life, so your significant other, your friends, your colleagues, all of that, do you feel the need every time you see them to hug and cuddle them and, touch them a lot? Some people maybe, but the answer is probably not. We have lots of different ways that we socialize with other people. So sometimes we do touch them, sometimes we show them things, sometimes we are doing different things, but we're in close proximity to each other. And then sometimes, like at the bottom picture here, sometimes we're just coexisting near them, ignoring each other, but still having a nice social interaction. And all of that is considered to be good social contact with other people. So the question becomes, why do we expect our cats to always put up with petting when we don't expect other people to always let us touch them? This is my cat Bee. She's going to show up a lot in this presentation. When I started working on the presentation, I began noticing and taking pictures of where Bee likes to hang out in proximity to me. And you can see that it looks a lot of different things. So sometimes she is actually literally on top of me. Sometimes we cuddle together under the blankets, but then also sometimes we just hang out near each other. So she's near me when I'm watching TV. She's on the other side of the room on her pillow or on her cat tree. All of those count as social time. And we should expand what we think of in terms of good social interaction with our cats. Cats do vary in how they like to interact with you. So they may vary in where on their bodies they like to be pet, who they like petting them, when they like to be pet, so what time of day, for how long. So some cats can tolerate or enjoy just a minute or two, and some cats have a longer enjoyment period. And then how they like to be pet. So think short versus long strokes, light petting versus a little bit heavier pressure. Cats get to vary between individuals, and then within one cat may have different preferences at different times. The key is to get to know what your cat specifically likes. In general, so here's a picture of kind of a typical cat. So usually the head and cheeks are the safest areas for the cat to enjoy petting. The back and tail are a little bit iffier. Some cats like it, some really don't. And then most cats do not enjoy having their feet or their bellies handled. But again, this is going to vary from individual to individual. So I had a couple of my coworkers make kind of this type of map for their own personal animals. And you don't have to take too close a look at this, but on quick glance, you can already see there's a lot of variation. So some cats, like mine, are pretty typical, where the head is the most popular, the back and tail are kind of iffy, the belly is really not. The bottom corner orange cat, he is into pets everywhere. The top left cat, in fact, doesn't like having his head pet. He thinks that reaching towards you is quite scary. So different cats have different preferences. And really the best thing to do is to think about your cat in terms of a map like this, of which areas are good, okay, bad, and everything in between. All right, so I want to jump back to people for a second and tell you a little story. So imagine that you are sitting with your friend on the couch and you're each doing your own thing and you're ignoring each other, but having a good social time, right? And your friend starts to hum, and they're humming persistently. And at first, maybe all that happens is you lose focus on your book or something, right? And so you're not angry or anything, but you're not enjoying your book anymore because you're distracted and you're a little bit annoyed, right? And you may start to kind of shift around. You want to tell your friend to stop, but you don't want to be rude. So you start shifting, maybe you cough a little bit, maybe you get up and you kind of, nudge them a little bit. And if they stop, great, you go back to reading, everything's great, you relax again. If they don't stop, eventually probably you're going to tip over into annoyance, right? And let's imagine that you say, hey, can you please stop humming? And your friend says, hey, like you could have just told me, you don't have to get all upset about it. And your reaction is, well, I thought I was telling you. I thought my shifting around and my coughing and all of that, I thought I was communicating. And that's how our cats feel sometimes, is that they are trying to communicate with us. They're trying to let us know when they're moving from enjoyment into dislike, and we're not listening. And so our goal here is to be better at that listening. We can kind of think of it in terms of a spectrum, right? So we have full enjoyment, which I'm going to call the green zone a lot. So this is where your cat is enjoying and really into whatever interaction you're having. Then we have kind of the yellow zone where we're tolerating. So that's where they're going to start giving those signals like shifting around to let you know that they're moving away from enjoyment. And eventually, if we don't listen to our cats, they are going to feel the need to move into the dislike or the red zone, where they're going to react and say, back off, because you weren't listening to me when I was trying to be polite. So green zone body language or behaviors. Here's just a few. There is a large list, but some common ones are the cat is coming up to you. So we always want to pay attention to where the animal places themselves in relation to us. So a cat that's coming up wants to hang out with you, right? That's why they're approaching. Other body language is head bunts, cheek rubs, which I'll show you on the next slide. A high or crooked tail is considered a social tail in cats, and then social roles. So here's a short video of, again, my cat giving head bumps and cheek rubs. So you can see that she kind of pushes her head up into the touch. When I hold out my hand, she pushes her cheek against my hand. So that's the cheek rub. The gray cat on the screen, his tail is in the social position. So it's high and it has the little crook at the end. And then the cat in the bottom, she is doing a social roll. So nice relaxed body and kind of rolled partly over. Then we can move into talking about the yellow zone behaviors. So this is signs that your cat is moving from relaxation and towards dislike. And this is the area that we want to spend the most time studying and getting better at recognizing in our cats. Because if we can respond before our cats feel the need to get to react while they're in the red zone, then we are going to have just a stronger relationship with them. So yellow zone behaviors include the tail twitching. So either the end or the whole tail might start twitching. The cat may shift around, so they may fidget, or even, especially if you're petting down the back, the cat may stand and kind of push her head near your hand. So that's her saying, I'd rather you don't pet there. I want you to pet here instead. If you're petting down the back again, you may see the head turn or the ears rotate back towards your hand. The skin may do what I call ripples. So it pulls back a little bit slower than it should. And I'll show you what that looks like on the next slide. The fur on some cats may push up or puff up at the shoulders or the base of the tail. So the fur puffing up is a sign of escalating emotion. The cat may start vocalizing. So in the yellow zone, usually that's going to look like some sort of meowing. And then if the cat begins to lean away or avoid you, that's a sign that they're not enjoying being near you as much. All right, so I took a video of me pushing my cat into the yellow zone to illustrate some subtle body language. I do want to make the disclaimer that we should not be doing this to our cats. This is for educational purposes. And I know my cat and her tolerances quite well. I knew, how hard I could push without really making her sad. So please never work to get your cat away from the green zone. The goal is always to keep them in the enjoyment. Okay, but let's take a look. So I start by petting her on her head. This is one of her good places. And then I'm going to move down to start petting on her back. And the first thing that we're going to see is the skin rippling that I described. So if you look, that skin, it pulls back slower than it should. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on her. There's no physical reason that the skin isn't pulling back. That's the muscles contracting. She turns to look back at me and she kind of actually pushes her head into my hand. So doing that thing where she says, yes, that's where I want you to pet. Then she begins fidgeting, her tail is twitching, and you might notice her ears are now pointed back towards me. So all of these are signs that she is moving away from relaxation. She's not getting up, she's not swatting or biting at me or anything, but this is her way of saying, please stop what you're doing and go back to what you know that I like. And spoiler alert is after the video ended, I did do that. I stopped for a couple minutes and then I went back to petting her head and all of those signals went away. And that's ideally what happens is we notice and we respond and the cat gets to go back into the green zone. If we don't though, then the cat may progress into the red zone, which is where you're going to see stronger reactions. So this is the cat saying, I tried to be nice. I tried to tell you that I didn't like it. And now I need you to really know. So we're going to see things like the cat gets up and leaves or becomes avoidant of you. The vocalizations are usually going to be more dramatic. So they're going to be hissing, growling, yowling, other things like that. You're more likely to see the fur puffing up again at the shoulders or at the base of the tail. The eyes may get round or the pupils dilate, and then the cat may start reacting. So swatting, snapping, or biting at you. All right, so once again, the key is get to know what your cat likes. So figure out what keeps them in the green zone of petting, and then respect that. If your cat is starting to give yellow zone signals, stop, take a break, and see if you can go back to an area of green zone interaction, okay? And that may be to just leave him alone. If he wants to sit on your lap but doesn't want you to touch him, that's okay, right? Our cats are allowed to hang out near us and we don't have to touch them all the time. Our goal should always be to keep our cats in the green zone. So definitely stop when you notice that they're moving into the yellow zone. But if you figure out what keeps your cat in the green zone, stay there. And over time, the kind of long-term benefit here is that as the cat learns that you are hearing his signals, his tolerance will increase because he'll learn that he can trust you. So you'll be able to pet him more easily, maybe on more areas of his body, maybe for longer, because you're going to build that trust. And then also, please never punish any behaviors, especially the red zone signals. So those signals are the cat saying, I'm uncomfortable and I'm a little nervous right now. If you punish, you are validating that idea that he's right to be afraid. And so that's actually going to make him more fearful and more likely to react in the future. Okay. All right.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and I'm going to talk a bit about interactive play. Interactive play is one of the most important enrichment things that you can do with your cat. And what are the benefits of reactive play? Reactive play gives your cat the ability to participate in species-specific behavior. What does that mean? Well, it means your cat gets to be the hunter, bring out the hunter in the hunt. It also helps ease distress and depression. If you think about it, even people, when they play or when they're exercising, it relieves stress and depression. Well, so with cats, it helps them relieve stress and makes them less lethargic if they're playing. It also provides exercise, and if you have a new cat coming into the house, it may very well help introduce that new cat to the other cats in the household. What is the goal of an interactive play session? It's to stimulate the hunt for prey experience that the cat experiences in the wild. They hunt for prey, they catch the prey, and then they eat the prey. What does interactive play look like? Interactive play involves you. You are the most important thing to help participate. You play with your cat using a fishing pole or wand type toy. I have a video of our shelter cat behavior manager, Lisa, doing some interactive play with one of the shelter cats. Lisa is using the bird cat toy. It's a lure toy made up of 3 or so feathers. And as you see, she's alternating between moving it along the floor and then having it fly through the air. Some cats prefer to chase toys just on the floor. Some prefer it to be whipped around through the air. Some like both. It's very important to let the cat catch the toy very often during play, because you want them to experience that catching the prey part of the process. Even though the cat is not always chasing the toy, he's still enjoying the game. And you can just see how he'll pause for a minute, maybe go hide somewhere, and then come back. Some cats will even not necessarily always engage directly with the toy. They may sit on the side and just, watch the toy with a lot of interest and curiosity. That's still good exercise for your cat, good mental exercise. See, he's kind of hiding over at the side, but he's still interested. You can see him still watching. What type of toys should you look for? You want to look for toys that simulate actual prey. They look like prey, they move like prey, they feel like prey. So something that in other words looks like actual mouse, or something looks very close to a bug. The bird toy has feathers that look very much, if not like real feathers. Here are some of our favorite toys. The bird, which we've already talked about, it consists of a pole and 3 feathers tied together. Cats really love this toy. They do quite a bit. We'll just destroy the feathers. That means they really like the toy, and you should get another lure. The feather part, the lure part, is replaceable, and it's pretty economical to replace that. The Go Cat Catcher teaser wand with a mouse. Cats really love, the shelter cats really love this one. It really does look a bit like a mouse when you're running it along the floor and you're making movements like a mouse would move, kind of just little slow movements and hiding around. They really love this toy. There are also Neko flies. These are the lures that look like bugs. And again, they can be moved along the floor as if a bug would move. They have different bug lures that you can attach and detach, so you could get different ones and kind of make the game fun by using different things. Or you can also have 2 or 3 different things so cats can have a change up. It's very important after we finish the session and the cat has had a chance to hunt and pounce on the prey to get some treats at the very end, so that we've finished the process of hunt and eat.
All right. The next topic that we're going to go through is litter box, which is everyone's favorite thing to talk about, I'm sure. So again, I want to go back to this idea that our cats, as not domesticated animals, have a lot of instincts in common with those of wild cats. And for a wild animal, the biggest priority is survival. And if you think about it, eliminating is quite a vulnerable time because they have limited ability to escape should a threat approach. So that's where your cat's coming from when they think about their bathroom. Additionally, cat urine is quite concentrated and smelly. So it does make them more vulnerable to predators in that it can be kind of lay a trail, it can be tracked, which is why your cat has such an instinct to bury their waste. And additionally, it gives them the instinct to eliminate away from where they do everything else. So your cat will not use the bathroom near where he feeds, drinks, sleeps, or raises the babies. All right. So priorities as far as bathrooms. As people, we really like our bathrooms to be basically little closets, right? It makes us feel safest to have an enclosed area that's nice and quiet and of course clean. But we don't have to think about predators coming while we're using the bathroom. We really like to have the little closet to feel safe and secure. Cats also like a quiet area when they use the bathroom, so not chaotic. They like a clean bathroom, but different from us. They like to be able to see what's coming, right? So they need to know if there is a threat coming, they need to have the time to see and be able to react to it. So unlike us, the ideal setup for a cat is actually to have lots of clear lines of sight around the bathroom. And that's a big thing that differs from what we want and can kind of create some tension about the litter box sometimes. So the ideal litter box setup, quiet, but not too hard to find. So again, nobody wants to use the bathroom in the middle of a party. That's too chaotic. But also, if you need to use the bathroom, you don't want to have to search 3 floors before you find where to go, right? And our cats are the same way. So we want to find a nice kind of quiet place but easily accessible for the cats. The kind of guidelines here are at least one box per cat and at least one box per floor. And especially on ground floor areas, you want to set up your litter box away from windows, because if a cat or a person or some other disturbance walks by, that's a perceived threat as well. So you want to be quiet in that area too. Definitely do not put your litter box near food and water stations. A lot of us really like the idea of having like a cat corner that has everything they need. Your cat does not like that, because again, they don't want to go to the bathroom right next to where they eat and drink. As I mentioned, the box should have good lines of sight around it, so the cat should be able to see if someone is coming with a good amount of time to respond. So oftentimes we see litter boxes tucked into the back corner of a small laundry room. That is very kind of traps the cat in place. So if he's using the box and something comes in, it doesn't give him a lot of time to react to it. Most cats like open boxes. So we like covered boxes because it traps the odor and prevents it from spreading too much through our house. But if you think about using like a porta potty where the odor is also trapped because it's covered, that's not very pleasant. It gets very smelly. So going into a covered box can be quite unpleasant for our cats. Most cats are going to prefer open. And then it needs to be large enough that the cat can comfortably turn around. And as far as litter, there's a lot of different options. Most cats prefer fine-grained sand type clumping litter. So cats are originally desert animals, so that sand feels natural under their feet, and it makes it much easier to bury their waste than a lot of other litter types. And it should be deep enough that the cat can fully bury their waste. 3 to 5 inches is typical. And then of course the box should be kept clean and odorless. As far as maintenance, you need to be scooping often, at least once a day. Some cats are pickier and will need to be have their box scooped as often as every time that they use it. And that may sound kind of annoying, but I can promise you it's not as annoying as having to deal with constant accidents and trying to figure out where your cat has gone to the bathroom this time. So figure out what your cat needs as far as your scooping schedule and just work it into your routine, and you'll find that it's not that big a deal. You should also be deep cleaning the box. So every couple weeks, you should pull out the litter, scrub down the box, and then completely replace the litter. And you should clean with a pet cleaner, or you can use very diluted bleach as well. The idea here is that, as I mentioned, cat urine especially deposits a fair number of chemicals with it. And those do need to be cleaned out of the box by being scrubbed periodically. Besides keeping your cat happy with their box, the other thing that routine scooping and cleaning does for you is it gives you an easy alert if your cat's bathroom habits change, which is often an early sign of a medical trouble issue. So if you see that your cat is peeing or pooping much more or less than they usually do, it's worth scheduling a vet visit, because a lot of times this is a good way to flag any potential health problems for your cat. If your cat's using the litter box, you probably don't think about it too much, and congratulations, that's awesome. But it's still worth kind of taking a moment to think about your setup and see if there are things that you can do to improve it. And the comparison here again is the porta potty. So most people under most circumstances, if they need to go bad enough, will use a porta potty, but nobody will ever describe that as their ideal bathroom setup, right? And we love our cats. We want the best for our cats. So if there are easy things that you can do to move your box setup around so that your cat enjoys using the bathroom more, it is worth it to do that. And the other thing is that throughout your cat's life, change happens. It just does. So the cats get older. You're probably going to move house at some point. You may have new people or animals coming and going from your household. And if your cat is barely tolerating the bathroom as is because the setup is less than ideal, then stressors such as those may cause them to start having accidents. So if you can make the bathroom a little bit of a nicer experience, they're going to be more resilient under stressful conditions. If your cats are having trouble, so they're starting to, if your cat is not using the litter box, the first thing that you should do for any behavior change is take them to the vet. Behavior changes often, so sudden behavior changes often signal something medical is happening. And so the first thing to look at is with your vet, is there a medical cause? You should be comparing your litter box setup to the picture that I described a few slides ago. and see what changes you can make. So again, if your cat was barely tolerating it, then maybe something shifted and they decided not to deal with that anymore and they started using a different location to use the bathroom. And then if there are recent stressors in your household, so the big ones that I mentioned before are like new family members or you moved. Some cats are also quite sensitive to less obvious stressors. So if you got a new couch, it may not smell like them as much anymore, and that could be stressful. So think about what recent changes have happened in your household and how can you lessen or resolve them. The big takeaway here is that cats don't just stop using the litter box for no reason. You need to find and address the underlying cause. If you can't do that, you're going to continue to have problems because there's something that's motivating this change in behavior. Once you have figured out that cause and started working on resolving it, then the other things that you need to do are you need to thoroughly clean any areas that have had accidents. So especially if this is kind of a chronic problem, I recommend you get a black light and a roll of painter's tape and you go all through your house and shine the black light absolutely everywhere, and mark every spot with painter's tape. And then go through and thoroughly clean every area using a pet odor neutralizing product. So the average household cleaner is not going to pick up all of the chemicals that the cat has deposited. And so you need something that's specifically designed for this purpose. So do thoroughly cleaning. A lot of those products you can put in the wash with bedding. So just check the label. For things like mattresses, you may need to get plastic covers or even replace the mattresses so that you have that fresh slate. And then once you've done a thorough cleaning, at first recheck frequently. So habits take a while to change and you really want to make sure you're catching every time your cat has an accident so that you can promptly clean it. Then you want to limit access to areas where the cat has had accidents. So you are hopefully also working to get your cat less stressed for whatever reason they're not using litter box. You're working on that cause. But in the meantime, we want to kind of cut off access to areas where they've been using the bathroom as much as possible so that we can encourage them to go back to using the box. And then you also want to create positive associations with areas where they've had accidents. So if they're not using litter box, again, something's wrong, they're stressed, they have some worry and stress. So increasing things like play, feeding, clicker training in those areas. And then generally working on stress reducers. So as Catherine talked about, interactive play is a really important stress reducer. We're going to talk about other ways to set up your environment to help your cat feel secure as well. And then really keep in mind, habits take time to change. So it's extremely rare that you say, oh, here's the cause, I'm going to make the change. And the next day the cat has 100% gone back to using the litter box. I wish that was how it worked, but it's really not, because habits take time to change. So what you should be doing is keeping a log. So you can set up an Excel sheet or a handwritten one to keep track of how often is the cat using the litter box, how often are they having accidents, and where are those accidents occurring. And what we're looking for is that over time, the cat is using the box more and having accidents less. If that is what's occurring, you are going in the right direction. You are working to treat the correct cause. If you're still having trouble though, please do reach out about this. Get some professional help. The certified cat behavior consultants are fantastic for all different types of cat behavior issues, obviously, but especially litter box. And then you can use your vet as a resource as well, both to diagnose medical issues and also as a reference, a source of reference for behavior help. And then veterinary behaviorists are a great resource as far as bridging the gap between medical and behavior.
Hi, so let's now talk about scratching and scratchers. Why do cats need to scratch? Scratching is an innate behavior that serves several functions. First of all, it sharpens their claws. For cats, weapons are essential for catching prey. It also maintains the health of the nail. The scratch, when they scratch, it removes the nail sheath, which maintains healthy nails. It's also a visual and olfactory marker. When cats scratch, their nails leave scent markers, and which other cats may come along to find. And in the wild, it tells other cats to stay away because cats don't necessarily want to meet a strange cat. It also displays this frustration or excitement. Sometimes we'll see a cat become excited and then run over and do the scratcher. It also helps them stretch out their muscles and their back and just giving a good stretch. Where should I place my scratchers? Anywhere cats are already scratching. If your cat is scratching in an inappropriate place, such as your sofa, you'll want to place a scratcher near that scratch place where they're scratching so that you can transfer, hopefully, them to the appropriate place. We'll talk about maybe seeing what kind of material they like. You can, and if you have a new scratcher, you can put on some catnip to attract them there, but you want to have your scratchers where the cat is already scratching, because that's will deter them from scratching where we don't want. If they're kittens, you could place a scratcher in the middle of the room so they can find it. Kittens aren't necessarily automatically drawn to a scratcher. You can help them learn how to use it by actually taking your nails and scratching it on yourself. Believe it or not, this is how I taught my 2 kittens how to scratch. If you have more than 1 cat in your home, you'll want mini scratchers around so that they each one at least needs to have their own scratcher where they spend their most time. How do we choose a scratcher? We want to make sure that the post is rigid and stable if it's a post or a tree scratcher. We don't want it to dump over. This will make the cat fearful and not want to use it again. You want to make sure it's tall enough to stretch at a full stretch. A scratcher that's tall enough for a kitten may not be tall enough for a full-grown cat, so you may need to replace your scratcher as your kitten grows unless you get a tall one to start with. You want to make sure it's made from a rough material such as sisal rope, sisal fabric, or corrugated cardboard. Studies show that cats mostly prefer the sisal rope. Sisal rope is also replaceable, so when a cat wears it out, it can pretty much redo it, usually with some glue and whatnot. You want, especially if you're trying new scratchers, you don't know what your cat will like, you want to try to offer both horizontal and vertical scratching paces. Some cats like to scratch up, some like to spread out, or some like to do both. This is an example of a vertical post. As you can see, it allows the cat to fully stretch out, and it appears to have a very stable, large base on the bottom, so it won't tip over. This is a wall-mounted scratcher. It doesn't take up very much space, which is a great advantage. Also, we just want to make sure a scratcher like this is securely attached to the wall. This is a horizontal scratcher, which is another option to see so cats can spread out and scratch. This one holds 3 cats, it looks like, and there's a nice hole in the middle they can play. This is a cat tree, but it has 3 posts that actually have sisal on them for scratching, and also has some carpet, which some cats like to claw into. It also has a nice little hidey house up at the top. Corinne's going to talk about hiding spaces in a few minutes. So this is kind of a 2-for-1. It gives you both a scratching place and a hiding place. Now let's talk about vertical spaces. This is another very important thing that your cat needs in your home. Why do cats need vertical space? Can't they just hang out on the floor with us? Cats really get comfort from height. This is why you find your cat hanging out on the refrigerator, up on the bookshelf. They like to be up high. It gives them a sense of security. In the wild, they're up there surveying their kingdom, looking around to see if there's any threats or if there's any prey that they can pounce on. Being up, vertical space also allows cats to be apart from other cats or individuals if they choose. Also, climbing and jumping up to vertical spaces provides cats with a source of entertainment and exercise. Here are some easy ways to provide vertical space for your cat. This is a bookshelf. As you can see, there's many steps that they can jump up and down on. Just make sure that it is secure and won't dump over when they jump up, because again, that could cause them to be scared and not get back on it. Looks like this bookcase also has some sisal wrapped around it, so it also has a scratching place provided. These are cat shelves. I think they're very cool. These, you can actually buy them pre-made as cat shelves, but you can also just make your own from pieces of things you can get from like Home Depot with shelf brackets and just wood. You want to make sure that the shelves are covered with a non-slip material so that when your cat jumps up there, they don't slide right off. They have to be big enough to hold the cat. And if you have more than one cat, you want to make sure there's 2 different ways to go up and down so the cats don't meet in the middle and then get stuck and maybe have an argument trying to see who can go which way. And they also need an easy way to get up, such as a ramp or another piece of furniture that's closest to the lowest shelf so that they can easily access the shelves. And they need to be securely attached to the wall. This is a window perch. This is what I think is also 2-for-1 vertical space. It gives your cat a place to be up high, but it also gives your cat a view of the window. So these are are put in the window, and then the cat can look out at the birds and whatever is going on outside, and provides visual enrichment as well as a high place to get up away and survey. I just want to make sure that these are securely attached to the window. Some actually permanently attached. Some of them are constructed such that they're not permanently attached, but just make sure they're sturdy and they won't fall off when the cat jumps up there. This is a cat tree. I like this one because it goes all the way to the ceiling, and it provides scratching space as well as multiple platforms or areas for the cats to hang out. It doesn't take up a lot of space. There's lots and lots of different kinds of cat trees.
All right, great. So the last topic that we're going to talk through is hiding spaces, and this is going to play really well into the vertical space as well that Catherine just covered. So once again, just to kind of come back to the same point, cats have a lot of their brain is in common with their wild cat relatives. Wild animals have to think about survival. That means that safety and security is your cat's primary instinctual concern. Above everything else, they need to feel like they are okay in their environment. And hiding is the way that a fearful cat will gain that sense of security. So hiding provides a lot of opportunities. It lets the cat get away if things are getting a little bit too busy for them. It gives them time and space to recover, some quiet to decompress. As Catherine mentioned, vertical or high hiding spaces especially provide a vantage point to see any threats that are approaching. And then hiding also gives the cat the opportunity to ambush when they're hunting or playing. So hiding is a really important behavior. If your cat is choosing to hide, you need to let them do it. Please, please, please do not pull out a cat who is hiding. Again, a cat who's hiding needs a sense of safety and security. She needs to have the time and space to gather information and build confidence on her own timeline. For some cats, this takes quite a while, so days to weeks is not abnormal. You need to let them hide and gather information on their own terms. And especially when new cats are coming into the home, you may have been counseled on giving them like a safe space or a room to decompress and get used to the new household. That's the kind of idea here, is that we're letting them build their own safe area from which to get used to things. If your cat is hiding, what you can do is you can quietly leave treats near them, and you can hang out in the same room as them, but please do not push to interact with the cat. So don't reach into the hide, just kind of present something good like a yummy treat, and then neutrally stay in the area for a little while. If you see that the cat is reacting even to that, then do less. So really the key here is let the cat kind of set the terms as to where she is most comfortable being at the moment. And as I mentioned earlier, whenever we push our cats beyond what they're comfortable with, they're trying to tell us that they're fearful and they're uncomfortable with what's happening. If you push past those signals, the cat is getting the message that she is right to be afraid. So that's not going to help build confidence. It's actually going to damage the relationship. So when you have hiding spots, you should have a nice variety of hiding spots in your home. And different cats are going to like different things, but also one cat is going to like different things for different circumstances. So some things to consider are to have both high and low hides, so above ground level and then also close to the ground. You want to have hiding options in both quiet areas of your home and social areas of your home. So if a cat wants to hide to retreat, she should be able to. But also, if the cat wants to be in the same room as you, so going all the way back to the beginning of the presentation, they want to hang out near you, but they may not be in the mood to be out in the open or really close to you. If you have hiding options in your social areas, the cat can start to gain confidence about being near you while still feeling safe and secure. And then different types of hiding spots for the spot itself include open, so kind of a basket where it's partly enclosed but not fully, and then cave type where it is all the way enclosed. And having lots of different options lets the cat pick out their preference at different times. Every single cat needs hides. Again, this is a really important instinctual behavior. So every single cat needs places to hide. But if your cat has one of these kind of things going on, you should increase the number of hiding options. So when you move to a new home, if you make major changes in your household, so new people, new animals, new babies, any sort of change that way, multi-animal homes need to have lots and lots of hiding options because sometimes animals don't get along and they just need space from each other. And then if your cat has a nervous or fearful disposition, you should really make sure to up the number of hiding options available. And then besides the hide itself, an important consideration is an escape route. So it's not very safe and secure if the cat feels like he's trapped once he's in the hide. So you want to look at your hiding options in your house. We're going to go through some examples to help kind of guide this exercise. But you want to look at what you have and think through your cat's eyes. So if the cat is in the hide, if a threat comes along, could he get out using a different route so he doesn't have to pass the threat? And this can be a real threat or a perceived threat. So maybe your cats don't always get along and they actually, could get into a scuffle. Or maybe the cat is just feeling kind of like having some solo time and you're coming along and he'd rather just like get out a different way. So escape routes are really important. If your home does not have very good escape routes, then how can you modify your setup to make that part better? And again, we're going to go through some examples, but the key here is think like a cat. So first example, here's a cat tree similar to one of the ones that Catherine showed. This one is nice because it does have some of those cave style hiding boxes, and it also has a lot of different platforms at different levels. So here's our yellow cat. If a threat, so the red cat comes along, we can think about how could the yellow cat get out without having to pass the red cat. Here, it's pretty easy. He could just go out one of the other ways, right? He could just kind of come to the front. If we wanted to make this cat tree even more escape route friendly, we could move it away from the window a little bit so that he could go out that way as well. But this is a pretty good escape route system. Here's another cat tree. This one has a little bit more of a basket rather than platform style, and it's also not super escape route friendly. So there's only one basket per level. If our yellow cat is up in that top level and the red cat comes along, and especially if he starts climbing those baskets, the yellow cat is a little bit stuck, right? One of the easy things that we could do is move this cat tree out of the corner. So we could ask this person to just slide it along the wall a little bit, and that automatically will provide at least the opportunity to go off the other direction. We also, if we wanted to make this even more cat friendly, we could position this cat tree near a shelf or a couch or something so that that yellow cat has an avenue to escape using various furniture. So I'm not going to tell this person, get rid of your cat tree. It looks like a very nice place to hang out, but there are ways that we can arrange our room setup to make it a little bit more escape route friendly. And then as far as low hides, so we talked a lot about vertical, but under the bed or sofa is a really common and lovely place for your cat to hide. But we should still be thinking about escape routes. So in this kind of hypothetical setup, the bed is tucked into the corner and it looks like there is a heavy drawer across the foot of the bed. So if we imagine that the yellow cat is under the bed, if the red cat comes along, there's not really a good escape route, right? So if this was the setup that we had, what we could do is we could move the bed a little bit away from the wall. We could move that drawer to a different area of the room. And now if the yellow cat's under the bed and the red cat comes along, there are lots of escape routes for the yellow cat. So a lot of times, if you kind of just think through the setup, it doesn't take a big change. You don't have to buy anything new. You just have to shift things around to create better escape routes. And that will make the hiding spot so much more pleasant for your cat. And then the last thing to talk through is the cave type hidey boxes and dome beds. So these are fantastic. They let the cat really feel enclosed, feel very safe and secure. You can see that the cats in these pictures are quite happy looking. But as far as escape routes, these can be kind of tricky to set up because once the cat's in there, the point is that they're pretty enclosed, right? So if something comes along, it's not super easy for them to leave. So if your cat really enjoys these, the best strategy would be to put them in those lower traffic areas of your house. So we want our cat to have them, to enjoy them, but it may be best to put them in areas where the cat is less likely to have to escape, right? So he really can use it as a retreat in a quiet area and feel nice and secure there. All right, so that's all the information that we have. Here are the references, some of the references that we encountered. And then thank you guys so much for listening. If you have questions or if you want help with your cats, you can definitely reach out to us. Our department email is training@humanerescuealliance.org. And then you can check out more resources at our website, humanerescuealliance.org, including our fantastic virtual cat class taught by the feline behavior manager, Lisa Stemkowski. If you are looking to do more for your cat, it's a super fun and awesome class, and I recommend